Good morning, fellow bass fanatics. Hope all is well. Coming close to Christmas. I'm in marvellous shape. I really am. I've been getting a bit of insomnia from the tank, and I woke at 1 and I went back to sleep until about an hour ago, which is the longest sleep I've had in a long time. And until you don't get sleep, you don't realise how important it is. But a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. One is my own ignorance. I didn't realise that BAS were an active organisation over here, so I'll be signing up to join that. And I've had some very interesting conversations. That's what I love about this starting this to get into this business. Is you meet wonderful people, anglers, and if you're talking to a fellow angler about fishing, then usually you're talking to them about something they're passionate about. And you get all sorts of people. You get talkers and you get listeners and you get all this, and then you get people who you can actually have a conversation with. And I find anglers tend to be fairly open-minded fellas. And I was talking to, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, Andy Kelly from Wexford. I've watched Andy for years. I saw him get the Sea Go, or whatever they're called, the jet ski. Some yoke, geez, impressive, and perfect for that kind of from Rosslare down the ground that stretches out for a mile and a half. I've often told the story of Biddy Young lad and the lads out fishing the Splaw Rock. There was a chapter on the Splaw Rock in Wexford, and it's been famous in August for just being absolutely, shoals of bass, right? And back then, of course, they were fishing with tobies and the like. And Des Brennan couldn't hook a bass to save his life. He said there was bass all around him and he couldn't hook one. And so they went away home and they thought about it. And the bait was small. And he got in a tiny little spinner from Sweden, of all places. The Swedes loved their fishing, and went back out at the same bunch of fish, and fish after fish after fish he hooked with this spinner. So it just goes to show you time and time again that bass are not stupid. Like they're clever fish, and they get very zoned in on one food source, on one prey, especially if you get fish competing. I don't know if you ever fish from a boat. You won't know it so much if you've fished from the shore. You might have seen it occasionally, but if you fish from a boat, what you'll see is that every bass you've hooked, there's often 2 or 3 below it, circling, looking what's going on here. We've often hooked those fish, often. Did you hear himself downstairs going bananas? Thinks there's burglars. Arthur! Up here to me. But I wanted to show you something, because something interesting came up yesterday in conversation with Melvin. That's the BKK. Excuse my hands, I was cleaning the coffee machine. It's the Titan Rider. Okay. Now, I understand the principle of what this is meant to do, but I won't be using it for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is, all right, it might pin your plastic up to the hook, right? Okay, but your plastic will get destroyed for starters, because when the bass starts thrashing its head, if that plastic is tight to the hook, it's just going to get torn asunder. And two is I I want a plastic that's going to slide out of the way so I can just get a clean hook up. So I'll be pushing those fellas up there and leaving them up there. That's what I was thinking. Now, fellas might totally disagree with me, say, no, I'm doing it the other way, and that's fine. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm only giving you what's in my head. I haven't put it into practice yet, so I couldn't tell you. It's the God's honest truth. Now, so I know some people are waiting on the new custom bag, and there was a bit of a mix-up, so they will be ready in February. Right, they are an awesome piece of kit. They were previously the Megabass sling bag, and Ultimate Fishing have taken over the production of those, and they are really truly, for the lure angler, they are an awesome piece of kit. What I like the most about them is I'm famous for two things. One is losing boxes of lures, and the other is breaking rods. Break the rod, they should call me, right? I just take more falls and everything else. But when you bend over, like if you bend over to get a fish, nothing can fall out of the bag, even if it's open. It's designed that way, right? And it's designed with plenty of space. It has a strap that comes around your waist, and it's not like an old skinny little thing that'll dig into you. You know, it's a good big strap that'll be nice and comfortable. You know, and I don't know about you, but I might look skinny up the top, but believe me, middle age and the mince pies and the Häagen-Dazs ice cream are starting to show down below. I'll tell you a funny story. A friend of mine, so it's not funny now, a friend of mine's father died, and I was going to go to the funeral. So I thought, geez, I have that very fancy suit I bought for my PhD graduation. I'll go up and I'll put it on me. Well, it was like trying to get into your school uniform. I would have had more luck getting into my school uniform. I couldn't get the pants past me thighs. I thought, she want to be some seamstress to get these trousers to fit. Jesus Christ! So that was an expensive day, €1,000. But so anyway, I digress. That's just one of my thoughts. Now the other thing is the fishing this year. What happened? Well, you know, it was fairly terrible. That's what happened. And I think we talk about climate change in the future tense, and climate change is happening now. You know, again, talking to Andy, see, myself and Andy would fish very similar and the same ground, right? And I fished the Banno, for instance, for years, and there was never no such thing as a gilthead bream. And suddenly then, in about, I don't want to get the year wrong, you know, so fellas love to point out, oh, it wasn't that year, it was this year, or whatever. But it was somewhere in the mid-2000s. These things showed up, you know. And as Andy said, they probably should have been in the Bay of Biscay. But here they were in a Southern Irish estuary, you know, and they come into the West Cork estuaries, and I was talking to my good friend Charles. He told me they're in Wales now. So 1 degree of temperature might not seem like much to us, but to bass, it's an awful lot, right? They will not. I mean, I remember somebody told me the water in Tramore at one point was 11 and something degrees. I mean, just phenomenal. Like, fishes struggle to breathe in that, you know, if they're not tropical fish. Like, they just, you know, and bass bass are a cold water species. They don't, you know, they're that mid-Atlantic, the real wild Atlantic way stuff. Like they like, you know, temperate climate, right? Now I know they're down off the north coast of Africa and all the rest of it, but only in the winter, right? And all those Mediterranean fish in the summer disappear and they go right down deep, down into the cold water, right? Now, it's a mystery where our fish go. Who knows? I think they go down around the Smalls. I think a good number of them go out into the Celtic Sea and they're on the sandbanks out there. They're open to all sorts of development out there, right? But what's encouraging is if you talk to the boatmen who know what they're doing and they're willing to talk to you and tell you the truth and tell you the numbers they're catching, there are plenty of bass there. And then I was talking to Cormac who runs the podcast, and he told me he had a fantastic autumn. Now, autumn, I was sick as the dog. I was laid on the flat of my back, so there was no fishing, which is a pity. But I'm looking forward to the spring. So I'm going to start a bit earlier this year. I'm going to sea trout fish. I have a feeling that over the Christmas there's going to be a window. I mean, they're saying it's going to be 13 degrees. If it gets up to 13 degrees, there will be bass in around my home ground, right? In around Tremor Beach and some of the marks around there. There definitely will be bass, without shadow of a doubt. I mean, I've caught bass there every month of the year. So hopefully we'll get out for a session. Now, they tend not to be big bass, but still, you know, if you're going fishing to catch fish, well, yeah, fine. I am going fishing to catch fish, but not solely to catch fish. Like, you know, I'm going fishing because I love the experience of it. I love the friendship, the camaraderie. You know, I love the fish themselves. Like, they're beautiful creatures. Whether it's a, you know, 20-pound pike or 6 or 7-pound bass, just to look at that creature and admire it. And Jesus Christ, like, unbelievable, you know. And it's the strike, right? I have Tommy Boy to thank for bringing me pike fishing. Tommy taught me to pike fish, and very accomplished pike angler he is. And it's the strike. I mean, Jesus Christ, the strike is just incredible. Like, it just, the rod is nearly torn out of your hands, you know. It's so hard. And those first 30 seconds are just adrenaline filled madness, right? The last time we had a particularly cold snap, and it was about the 2nd of June or so, and it was cold. And I thought, I'm going pike fishing today. The water will be cold. And this is it. I said, I'm not going pike fishing again after this. And I had gotten in, I was watching the pike fight, right, which I think is great. The free-water pictures, those young lads are fantastic. They do marvellous stuff all together. If you haven't, look them up. They're a bunch of Swedish, I think they're all Swedish, they're all Nordic anyway. But they just, they filmed that pike fishing for Soder Sport Fiske. It's my time in Copenhagen shining through there now. But they just film their adventures, and it's great television if you're a fisherman. You know, you can just disappear off into it for an hour. But Headbanger were one of the companies, right, that I came across, and they have this system. You know, it's like a head. and they have a swim bait, and I'm a big fan of swim baits. I like ultra realistic baits. I do. I like things that move, as they should. And so I said, Jesus, I said, I'll give one of these a go. And they had it in a kind of uh, a roach, kind of a, just silver kind of roach. And I fish a lake there that's absolutely teeming with skimmer bream and roach and all the rest of it. So I thought, Jesus, it's hard to get the big pike to move because they've so much choice. But I was trolling this fella. I was just popping it along at the back of the boat. I was probably doing 2.5 knots, and I saw this nose come out of the water behind the lure. And I thought, oh my God. And I actually saw her turn around, circle back, and come in to hit it from the side. And in the last, 5 meters, she just accelerated. And if you got the Oakleys on you, you can see what's happening. Well, my God, she took lure, the whole lot, just poof, out of the water. Bang, I gave it to her, and whoomph, we were in for some fight. What a scratch. Turned out to be 111 centimeters. Now, to big pike anglers, they go, yeah, okay, it's a meter fish, but big deal. But for me, I'm not a pike angler, right? That was a huge deal. I was like a child, this thing, like, oh my God, how did I manage this? So, but it's the strike, right? And it's the same with the bass, I was talking to Melvin again yesterday about needle fishing, and how less is more. The less the lure does sometimes, the better, right? Like if it's doing too much, the bass gets suspicious of it, or not suspicious, but there's no bait out there that charges around the place. Like, if you look at what the bait does, you learn an awful lot, right? Like, the only time you see sand eel actually charging is if you're wading, say, a beach at night and they're in the sand. As you step, they'll scatter, right? And what you'll see are V's on the top of the water, and you'll hear the little, and then next thing you'll hear, bleh, bleh, and it's the bass feeding on them on the surface, And if you watch, if you retrieve one of Charles's needles, just on a slow retrieve, keep it on the surface, keep your rod up. But what does it cause? It causes the very same V-shaped pattern. Just, same with your surface lures. Like, it's all this super walk the dog action. Well, yes and no. Like, I know that the lads in Rotterdam Harbour were just floating big poppers, just letting the current take the popper, and the bass were coming up, and it was the bigger bass, right? Now, having said that, like, I'm going to show you. I have that lure there 20 years. Look at that. That's quality. That's quality. Sardine red belly, right? Now, Joe or Tackle House are going to change this lure. Let me see now if we can get some focus. No, it's just a useless phone. But you see this clip here? They're going to move it down. And they're going to put extra bearings in there, so you're going to have more weight, right? And you're going to be able to pop that thing hard, right? I mean, I fish those quite quickly now. I don't muck around, because if you give the bass too long to think about it, right? If it's a day where they want something slow, then I'm not going to be fishing a popper. I'm going to be fishing a Sammy or whatever. Now, I think I have access to Lucky Craft. I really hope so. I really do. Lucky Craft are they're just deep in my heart. Just a fantastic company. I love their stuff. You know, the first proper bass I hooked on a flash minnow 110, and I didn't land the fish. The two hooks gave on the bar and banner, and the hooks gave when I had it at my feet. But no word of a lie, I was 10 minutes fighting that fish on a Berkeley SSG rod. Thing was like I didn't know what you do with it. Drive animals or something. It was like a so wobble. It's the slowest action rods. I hadn't a clue. I was only a kid, you know. And but it got the job done, you know. And I remember I was driving a Ford Focus, and I had the lure in the thingy, and I remember looking at the hooks going, Jesus, they're not in great shape. I should probably change those. And I thought, grand. Wasn't grand. You know, I had somebody else with me, and he just couldn't believe it. The fish came in and swirled right in tight. I got a monster of a fish. Easily 13 pounds. Easily. Huge. Those the big ones that get away, isn't it? Yeah. So look, lots of time until the season comes around again, really. Although I honestly think we have a window. I was in East Cork day before yesterday, and there were plenty of birds working, plenty of activity. You know, somebody else sent me footage of you know, pods of dolphin feeding off the coast there. So, I mean, if all that stuff is going on, you can be sure that there's one or two big bass. And congratulations to Clive Power on an awesome fish, 79 centimetres. That's some fish to finish your season on. Well done, Clive. You know, I have a couple of things coming in that I'm really excited about. The one-up slug, which is just stick bait straight, 130 centimeters, can be fished on a jig head, or it can be fished on an offset, right? I only got it in a couple of colours just to see how it fishes, and I want to make sure it's as good as I think it is. And then I'll expand out the colour collection or whatever. But it looks an awesome lure. Again, someone who follows the channel said, have you ever seen these, you know? Sent me them. Damo from Wicklow sent me a picture. Have you seen these? And I said, I have indeed, you know. So I have the Mad Shads coming as well. I've a lot of Madness stuff, but like Madness are just such a good goddamn company. You know, when we got the mother worm, I remember being in the East Ferry with Pat O'Shea, and I think Pat, for every bass I caught, Pat caught 4. He just had it down to a T, you know. I wasn't used to fishing deep water. You know, he was vertically fishing on the bottom. I kept getting bites and missing them and getting frustrated. I was like, what are you doing? I'm not doing. You know, and he took me up the mouth, and I hooked the bass, and it buried in the kelp, and I never got it out. Jeez, it was some fish. Anyway, but that's a long time ago. That's 30 years ago. But anyway, so that's it, folks. No more to report. Everything is good. I'm going in now for oxygen therapy this morning. I'm on day 3 of this week, and now it starts to get kind of hard. You start to get a bit worn out, or your skin dries out, and you get a bit shot. But I'm going to go through till Saturday, and then I'm going to take a good break for Christmas, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the kids and the family on my 2 feet, because this will be my first Christmas in 3 years. The two before that I spent in bed. Arthur! Arthur! Come up here with me! Wait, let's see this one now. What's wrong with you? Say hello to everybody on YouTube. Say hello to all the people on the YouTube. Show them your haircut. Best dog in the world, best companion a man could ever have. Didn't budge from my side for 3 years. He's lost a bit of weight. He's getting a bit of condition back. I had him out fishing the day before yesterday. One I've never seen such a joyful dog in all your life. He ran up and down the beach. Kept looking at me as if to say, "You're back, Dad. You're back." He's great. I love this dog. I love this dog. You know, I'm always wary of people who don't like dogs. I can understand people being afraid of dogs. That's a different thing. But they just don't like dogs. What's not to like? You know, they're everything. Sure, they're loyal. They're cute. You know, the personality. Personality goes a long way. Small bit of personality goes an awful long way. So that's it, folks. Tight lines. Let me know what you think about those Titan hooks, because they're fantastic hooks. You know, they're absolutely fantastic hooks. The other thing I'm interested in is these the red BKK UV ones, because I was looking at the Mega Bass Hazedown 5-inch UV, and my God, I'll be fishing those in the night time for sure. I mean, they glow green, like, you know, the Wicklow green of the lance. That's what they glow in the darkness. That's the colour they give off. I was like, Jesus Christ, this would be lethal just past them. And I'm talking on an open surf beach, you know. Just 10 gram head, nice light rod, throw them into the wash. Let them waft around, hold on tight, you know. But that's it anyway. I'll start rambling now and digressing into all sorts of other stuff when I start talking about stickbait fishing and all the rest of it. So look, anyway, thanks everybody for your support, and I'll talk to you before Christmas. But things are moving along really nicely now in terms of getting this site up and running and everything else, and starting to actually sell some tackle and get you guys out fishing. So we'll talk to you soon. Mind yourselves. Tight lines.